The Bible speaks of a paradise called Eden. It was a land nourished by 4 rivers. 2 of these rivers are the Euphrates and the Tigris. Could the other 2 be the Blue Nile and the White Nile? It's a fascinating idea. We usually think of Eden in the Middle East, but what if we're looking in the wrong place? What if Eden was in Africa all along? The Nile, like the Tigris and Euphrates, was a source of life. It brought water to a parched land. Its annual floods deposited rich silt on its banks. This created a fertile green valley. This valley was a stark contrast to the surrounding desert. Could this be the biblical garden in the east? It's something to consider. The ancient Egyptians believed the Nile was a gift from the gods. They built their civilization on its banks. They worshipped the Nile as a god itself. They called him Hapi. Every year Hapi would rise in flood. He would bring life-giving water and fertile silt. This was seen as a blessing from the heavens. Could this belief be a distant memory of Eden? The Nile Delta, where the river meets the sea, is particularly fertile. It was here that Egyptian civilization flourished. Could this be the location of the Garden of Eden? The Bible describes Eden as a place of abundance. It was a place where everything grew freely. The Nile Delta certainly fits that description. It was a paradise created by the river. The ancient Egyptians were skilled farmers. They developed sophisticated irrigation techniques. They were able to grow an abundance of crops in the fertile soil. They built great cities along the Nile. These cities were centers of art, culture, and learning. Could this have been the cradle of civilization? Could it have been the inspiration for the Garden of Eden story? The ancient Egyptians believed in an afterlife. They believed that the soul journeyed to the underworld. There it was judged by Osiris, the god of the dead. Osiris was associated with rebirth and regeneration. He was often depicted with green skin, symbolizing growth and vegetation. This echoes the imagery of Eden, a place of eternal life. Abydos, an ancient city on the banks of the Nile, was a sacred site for the worship of Osiris. It was believed to be the entrance to the underworld. Intriguingly, Abydos shares striking similarities with the Mesopotamian city of Babylon. Both were centers of religious and political power. Both were associated with creation myths and the underworld. Could there be a connection? Babylon was home to Marduk, the patron god of the city. Marduk was a storm god associated with creation and order. He defeated the forces of chaos to create the world. Osiris, too, was associated with order and justice. He brought civilization to Egypt after a time of chaos. Could these 2 gods be different versions of the same archetype? The similarities between Egyptian and Mesopotamian mythology are striking. Both cultures believed in a cosmic struggle between order and chaos. Both had creation myths involving a primordial ocean. Both had flood myths that destroyed and recreated the world. Could these similarities point to a shared origin? Could they be distant echoes of a time when the Nile and the Euphrates were linked in a common mythology? This hypothesis, of course, is highly speculative. It challenges traditional interpretations of history and mythology, but it's a fascinating idea that raises intriguing questions. Could the Nile be the true location of Eden? Could the stories of Osiris and Marduk be echoes of a shared past? These are questions that deserve further exploration. By questioning what we think we know, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. The clay letters found in Akhenaten's palace and the Hittites' capital, Hattusa's Akkadian letters, suggest a fascinating theory. These letters, written in the language of Ur, indicate that the Akkadians had a significant influence in both Egypt and the Hittite Empire. This raises the possibility that the Nile could be one of the 2 rivers mentioned in the Bible, alongside the Euphrates and Tigris. The use of the Akkadian language across these regions points to a shared cultural and historical connection, further supporting the idea that the Nile might be linked to the ancient stories of Eden. Imagine the possibility that these letters are not just remnants of diplomatic correspondence, but are threads of an ancient connection. Could it be that the Akkadians, Egyptians, and Hittites were part of a larger interconnected world? A world where the Nile, Euphrates, and Tigris were not just rivers but lifelines of a shared civilization. This intriguing notion invites us to rethink our understanding of history and mythology, weaving together the fragments of our past into a more unified tapestry. As we uncover more about these ancient connections, we come closer to understanding the true nature of our shared heritage. The stories of Osiris, Marduk, and Eden may be more intertwined than we ever imagined, echoing through the ages to remind us of our common origins.